So what's the deal with Battlefield 6? Well, I think they're trying too hard. That is, to appeal to the Call of Duty community. Now, I'm not going to go as far as some others have gone and say they've completely turned Battlefield 6 into a Call of Duty clone, because it's not quite that bad, at least not yet. And you can clearly see some changes have been made with the intent of bringing in the COD players. The one that sticks out the most to me is the score streaks. The sniper class has the worst ones. The first thing you get is sniper headshots kill enemies so hard that they can't get revived, which used to just be how snipers worked in Battlefield, and now my brain is still thinking that's how they work, because most of the time it is, but when I first start around, they can get revived, because you have to earn it now, which is kind of weird. And the UAV he gets later is worthless. It has no range. The Assault class gets a combat stimulant, but he already has 2 combat stimulants that even recharge, so what is this even for? The Engineer gets Super Reparo 9000, and despite seeing it so many times, I'm not even sure what the Medic one does. I never really got the chance to use it. But regardless, I don't think score streaks have any business in a Battlefield game. So again, they haven't quite turned it into Call of Duty as some are suggesting, but I do understand where they're coming from in saying that. Deployable cover needs to be removed from the game, or at least nerfed to the point where it can be taken out by a single RPG, because there's absolutely no reason you should just be able to whip out a piece of metal that is for some reason as strong as a tank. People abuse this to no end. It's ridiculous. Speaking of equipment, the RPG has to be a direct hit. Doesn't matter if it's a vehicle, if it's a tank, if it's a person. If it doesn't direct hit, it literally does nothing. I mean, sometimes it says it suppresses them, but I don't think that really means anything. It's just 5 points. And it's basically the same story for Assault's grenade launcher. The frags in this game are so useless, they remind me of what my friend referred to as party poppers in Stalker 2. You know, those weak-ass early game grenades? Flashbangs are also useless, which only leaves you with one option: smoke. And since you start off with like 2 or 3 of these, I certainly hope you don't like seeing enemies, your friends, or even 3 inches in front of your own face, because people will throw these everywhere and you won't be able to see anything. So with that said, all of the grenades in this game are simultaneously trash in their own way. The weapon balance is a weird thing. I guess since everybody loved the weapon proficiency mechanic in 2042, that's sarcasm, internet, they decided they would bring it back. So, what do we use with the Assault class? Well, it has a proficiency with assault rifles, so of course we're going to use a carbine. The M4A1 carbine, to be exact. The Engineer class has a proficiency with SMGs. Do we use the MP7? No, silly, we use the M4A1 carbine. The Support class designed for LMGs, you guessed it.
That's right, it's the square hole.
And the Recon class designed for snipers. But okay, actually that one you used the sniper. They did that one proper. So yeah, the only 2 guns worth using are the M4A1, which you get pretty early, and the sniper rifle, maybe the shotgun if you're playing Assault. Because everything else is so bad by comparison, they're just not really worth using, at least not in the beta. This weapon balance could change completely by the time the game comes out, but as I experienced it, it was pretty bad. And even the M4A1 suffered from horribly unpredictable recoil patterns. And I must say, though the developers are trying to prevent cheating with this secure boot requirement on PC, it doesn't freaking work. The cheating is completely out of control. The amount of cheaters I've encountered is just off the charts. For God's sakes, this is a beta. What is wrong with you people? Why is everybody hacking? And the second people find out you're on console, they accuse you of using a controller mod, despite the fact that you could just as easily plug a modded controller into your PC. Speaking of hackers, it's not even worth doing at the end of the day, because I saw my friend Matt, who decided he was gonna go full-on Hacksaw Ridge, not kill anyone, and was just gonna revive people the whole game. He outscored everybody, including confirmed hackers on the other team. It was hilarious. So, I don't know where all the praise for this game came from. Maybe people are just Battlefield starved because we haven't had one in like 5 years, and that's only if you count that one. Because to me, this looks like a giant freaking mess. Okay, don't be like this guy who's like, well, if you don't look for things to complain about, Bro, I'm not looking for things to complain about. They're making themselves known, kind of like when your cat jumps up on your desk between you and your screen. Now I know what you're thinking, but Lost, how about that destructibility? Surely you can't discredit this game's amazing destructibility. I have a very legitimate question for everybody who would ask that. Have you ever seen destructibility in a game before? Or like, is this your first time? Like, did you ever play Red Faction, Guerrilla, or Armageddon? Both of which have fantastic destructibility as far back as the 360 days. Did you ever play Crackdown 3? You could basically level the entire city, and that's the whole game. Or actually, better yet, have you ever played Minecraft? I'm only half joking. Technically, that's destructibility. And better yet, have you ever played Battlefield 1? You know, the Battlefield game that released in 2016, nearly 10 years ago? Yeah, it looks better and has better destructibility. Also, the gameplay was better, and frankly, I would say was just better across the board, even in spite of its historical inaccuracies. Okay, and now I know somebody's gonna be saying, but Lost, it's just a beta. They can have it all fixed by the time it comes out. Do you have the copium trucked in, or does a little Amazon drone drop it off through your window? Like, no, just no, dude, no. No game is like that. Certainly not an EA game. And I don't think people understand either. It's not that there's tiny bugs that can just be patched out anyway. All of these are like major issues that would probably take years to fix. And I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. With 2042, it took them years just to add cover to existing maps that were already completed. Well, then they can change the maps again for this one, just like they did for that one, right? You guys have to understand, they can't do another 2042. Now, I know a bunch of people just jumped up and said, hooray! But no, they really can't. Like, they can't give Battlefield games 5 years of support anymore, because again, they want to make it a yearly release by 2030. They don't have 5 years to work on the maps anymore. Those days are gone. I'm just trying to comprehend how the hell they're even gonna manage to crank out a new Battlefield every year, because even though Call of Duty does come out every year, each Call of Duty takes 3 years to make. They have different studios working on them, so they usually do Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, then Treyarch. Well, not necessarily in that order, but you get the point. They have a system, and even with that, the best they can crank out is Crap Ops 6, now featuring Beavis and Butthead. Good lord. So what the hell is DICE gonna do when they have to make a new Battlefield game every year on their own? Sorry for the rant, but I just had to get that out of my system. I've been your host, Lost, and this has been my perspective. A big thank you to those of you who made it through the entire video. You're the best. Feel free to drop a like if you enjoyed, and be sure to check back for the absolute fireworks show. The comment section is sure to be on this one. Until next time, you folks have a good one.